What is the very first thing that comes to mind when you hear the term daily bread? Now, if you are like most people, you probably think of daily bread as what you've read in the Gospels in the Lord's Prayer, where we ask God to give us our daily bread. However, daily bread is more than just a prayer. It is more than the manna that God sent down from heaven in the book of Exodus. Daily bread is a term that we can use to refer to our time spent with God, our time that we separate from the rest of the world and our responsibilities and everything we have to do daily to be with God, in communion with God, not just to pray or to send up a concern of a prayer or to send up a request to God and not just to have a quick verse that we read off of our phone, but to really sit down and to make a conscious effort to really spend time with God and to spend time in God's presence, not just repeating some words so we get our prayer time in or hurrying through a Bible reading or a verse reading. Now, you may have an app on your phone where you do some devotions or maybe some Bible reading as well. A lot of people like the Bible apps, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. You may even have certain ebooks that you like to read for devotions and things. And that's not to say that we can't utilize an online type of format or an app format. It's about where our heart is at. You see, it's about making a conscious effort and not taking that time for granted and not rushing through that time, but taking time to prioritize God, to have God be our daily bread. You see, we need the bread daily, meaning that we need God, we need prayer, we need the Bible daily. We need things in human nature like sleep and food and water and all of those things every single day. It is a cycle that we must keep repeating every 24 hours because otherwise we don't have the sustenance to live. Well, the same happens to us spiritually if we don't get our daily bread from God. We shrivel up and we wither away spiritually. And then we become very susceptible to the attack of Satan. Now, that doesn't mean that Satan's not still going to attack you when you're strong or when things are going great or when you're at your best, because that certainly will still happen. But it is much easier and much more effective for Satan to attack you when you are weak. Because if you are vulnerable and weak, then that just makes his job so much easier and much more likely to succeed. But when we are putting on the armor of God and we are praying for protection, we are daily taking up our cross and walking with God, then we are much more likely to succeed. Now, this is why when we read in scriptures about taking up our cross and walking daily with God, we don't see a taking up the cross monthly or occasionally or whenever we feel like it, whenever it's most convenient for us and that will make us happy. No, we need to do that daily. And see, this is what a lot of people neglect because it's very easy to get distracted. It's very easy to get caught up in work and responsibilities and families and things that we have to do and all the things that the world puts at us. And we hear so many things on the news, we see things on social media, and we get distracted by this thing or that thing and interruptions. And it's very easy to get apart from God quickly and oftentimes without even realizing it. You may end up doom scrolling or even going through shorts, and next thing you know, 3 hours has passed that you spent on YouTube Shorts because you've gotten sucked into this. And we're all guilty of doing this at some point. All of us have been distracted by something, regardless of whether it was a phone or whether it was a phone call. It doesn't matter. We've all been there. But you see, we have to make a conscious effort and we have to prioritize our walk with God, our daily bread with God. Because if we are not spending time with God every single day, then God is not a priority. And where is our relationship at that point? Our relationship can't be going that good because otherwise we would be putting God first. We'd be prioritizing God. So that means that we have wondered a bit. Now, it doesn't mean that we've necessarily done so intentionally, because, like I said, there's many things that can distract us and take our attention away, but it may not necessarily be intentional. It just kind of happens. Sometimes it creeps up on us without us even realizing it. And you see, this is what Satan does a lot. Satan will creep in and take over something in your life before you even realize it. And most of the time, it is without you realizing it. But this is why we have discernment and wisdom and knowledge that comes from God, spiritual warfare that we fight. But we have to pray for those things. And we also have to work towards those things to cultivate them. Because if we don't do that, then we don't have them. Just like any knowledge that you would attain is going to be completely useless if you're not putting it to work, if you're not making a conscious effort to actually use it and to put it to work, right? So the same thing happens in the spiritual. If we are not fighting spiritual warfare in prayer on our knees, then we're not going to be successful in fighting it. It's never going to happen. We need God to take care of that. And there are certain things that only God can take care of. But when we are not getting our daily bread, when we are not taking daily time to get sustenance from God, then none of it really matters because our relationship is just getting dim at that point. Now, I want you to think about the last time that you really put in effort to spend time with God, that you prioritize God, that you said, you know what, this is either the first thing I'm going to do in the morning or the first thing that I'm going to do before I go to bed. And, people's schedules are different. There's nothing wrong with doing something midday if that's what works with you. What is important, though, is making time that you are allowing God to take over. That is the key. See, it's not about when you do it. It's not about the time of day. It doesn't matter if it's night or day. What matters is that you're doing this distraction free, that you're putting away your phone, unless, of course, you're using the Bible app. That's a different story. You're putting away worldly distractions. You're putting away other people, other responsibilities, work, other things that could take your mind away from it. And you're sitting down and you're giving God not just your attention, but your heart. And you're saying, God, I want to spend this time with you. I want to actually feel the Holy Spirit. I don't want to just rush through this. I want to really sit down and commune with you. So, when was the last time that you did that? Are you getting your daily bread? Are you making it a point in your life to spend time with God? Do you even want to have daily bread? Do you want to have that time with God every day? And if the answer is no, then you really need to sit down and reevaluate your whole relationship with God. You see, a lot of people think that relationship is something that is kind of just on God. It's kind of for Him to do. He's supposed to pursue us, and He's so loving and kind and benevolent that it doesn't really matter. We're already saved. It was a free gift. So, as long as we've done that, then everything else is fine. Just kind of let it go. That's what a lot of people fall into. But that's not true. Because just like with every other relationship that we have in life, whether that be friends, family, romantic, whatever, we have to cultivate that. We have to put effort in. We have to work at it. It means that we will sometimes make mistakes, of course, but we take every effort to make that right when there is a slip up. You see, that's the same thing that we need to do with God. It's about a relationship with God, not just pleasing a religion or trying to look righteous in front of other people. It's about wanting to spend time with God in that daily bread, but it's also about where your heart is really at. And do you really want to spend that time with God every single day? Do you truly love and cherish God? Do you cherish God above all? You see, a lot of people don't. A lot of people treat God as more like a genie or somebody that they can go to when times are really hard. Because we all know that when times get hard, what do? First thing is we go for help. And what do people mostly do? Start praying, regardless of whether they're religious or not. That's what people do because they know that when times get hard, they have nothing else to count on. Nothing in the world can help them. And when they're in a crisis situation, who's going to come to their rescue? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. Now, it doesn't mean that God can't send people. Doesn't mean that God can't send a rescuer. Doesn't mean that God can't move in that situation or send angels, because He certainly can. but people turn to prayer regardless of whether they're religious or not. And why do you think they do that? You see, we all need to really evaluate where we're at with God, what standing that we are in, meaning, are we in good standing? Are we in bad standing? And where does your heart lie in all of this? Do you seek out the daily bread? Do you seek God? Do you even care if you get the daily bread from God every day? Do you even care if you do a devotion? Or is this just something else that you're ticking off of your to do list because this is another chore and not a priority? So, where do you fall? Are you in good standing with God? Or are you just taking up your cross whenever you feel like it, whenever it's convenient, and saying, oh, well, God, okay, I'll get to you later. I'll get to you when I got time, when I don't have other things to do. I'll worry about that later because I know you'll still be there, God. You're always there. You have to be there. So, do you treat God that way? Or do you treat God like a necessity in your life, like drinking is, or eating or sleeping?